There back of my rosemary, where you can see it needs a trim. It's not too out of control, but I don't want to let this get too crazy, so I just trimmed it back. And you might also notice there is now some guy wires on the tree. I just wanted to bring some branches down ever so slightly, and rosemary is very tricky to wire, so this is just the best solution. It will just help open the tree up a bit. I could probably do a few more branches, but I'll just take my time and do a few at a time. In July it looks really healthy. This tree seems really happy, and I'm pretty happy with it too. It's not perfect, I wish the trunk was a bit thicker, but as for everything else, I really can't complain. By August it's looking like it needs another trim, but I just left it a while longer. Also, if you think the tree looks lopsided, it is, but when I get round to lowering those other branches on the other side, it will look less wonky then. In September it's definitely in need of a trim. You can really see those shoots poking out through the silhouette, and it's getting a little out of control. You can't let these get too out of hand, as it's hard to keep the foliage tight if you let them get too long. So I just trimmed it back, and instantly it looks much better. As it's pretty much the end of the growing season, I'm not expecting anything to grow anymore this year. In October it seems happy enough, and really for the rest of the year here, it's just slowing down and nothing's really happening. I keep it under my grow light, so at this time of year I'm just lowering the light levels a lot, until I place it outside in the shed to have a cold spell in December. In February I brought it back inside, and well, it doesn't really need anything done. I could maybe prune it a little, but I think it's fine as it is for now. In March I decided it did need a little work. As you can see, it's a little dense, which is fine, but it's probably a little bit too much. So I went in and thinned some things out, which I'll try and show you here. If you look at it from above, you can really see how dense it is. It's just green everywhere. It's really hard to tell what is going on and what needs removed and what needs kept, or just where you should even start to cut things. It's just a big mess that looks nice from far away, but it's terrifying up close. Really, you need to pull each individual shoot and just look at it individually, and then work your way around the whole tree, so it's really a rather slow process. If you use this bit of paper, you might be able to see what's going on. Here I've got a shoot, and I can pluck out some of the inner needles that I know I'm never going to need. Now I'll just thin the tree out. That will just allow more light into the centre. And of course this shoot is way too long, so I can also just trim it back. And then basically I just repeat that all over the tree. And here it is after, where it doesn't look like there's any difference, but there will have actually been quite a lot of foliage removed. It was just so dense before, you don't even notice it was missing. In April it's starting to push out some new growth, so it's a good time to repot it. As it's in quite a small pot, it will really need this. I just started with the usual trick of raking the top layer of soil off and trying to loosen things up. It seems to be in this pot very tightly, so it took quite a bit of raking. I managed to get it free after a bit of wrestling, and it is a total block. I don't know how well you can see the bottom of this in this light, but it is kind of crazy looking. Here I managed to loosen up the sides a bit, and then the bottom is just pretty much a doormat of roots that was just hanging from it. It actually had 2 perfect holes there where the drainage holes were. Usually roots try and grow out of these, but I guess the conditions in the pot must have been pretty nice for them to stay inside. Anyway, I just chopped that bit off as it's too crazy. I'm never going to rake all that out. I'm never going to use those roots anyway. The root ball that was left was actually pretty decent. It's starting to take shape. It's kind of hard to see, but it's pretty good. If you use this white thing, you can see the spread a bit better. This was also after I pruned it back, so there's still a decent amount of roots left on it. I then just potted it back up in the same pot as I like it. And here we are after the repot, where it seems happy enough. This tree doesn't look like it's changed much throughout the video, and that's fine. And here we are in June, where it's looking like it's pushing out some new growth. So I went in and thinned it out. I just did the same thing as before with the tweezers, but I didn't trim it back this time. I just thinned it out, which was more than enough. And you can see here I did remove quite a lot, but it doesn't even look any different. But anyway, I'm happy enough with this tree, so hopefully it just keeps doing more of the same. Thanks for watching, see you next time.